Hello guys, and welcome to another review. I'm Unblessed Data, and this is the last review I'm ever gonna do for Breaking Bad. It's the last episode, Season 5, Episode 16, the finale. It's here, it's over. What a great episode. I thought it was great. The ending was great, and I know some people disagree that they didn't like the ending, but I thought it was really well done, really put an end to the series on a high note. I thought the quality of the episode was great, really consistent with all the other episodes. Perfect ending in my eyes. Now, before I get really into this episode, I just want to let you guys know it will contain spoilers, so if you do not want to know what happened, go watch the episode and come back. So, let that sink in for a minute. Breaking Bad is done. I was, like, after the episode, I was actually really sad. Like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, it's over. And I know a lot of people felt that way too, but honestly, I think this episode did do this whole show justice, and I think it ended it very well. So let's get right on to the episode. Right when we start off, we see Walt in a car with all the money that he had in the box that he was going to mail out to Walt Jr., but of course he didn't want to. So he tries to start the car with a screwdriver, but he can't do it, and there's police sirens in the background, and the police car drives right up to him, pulls up to him, drives away. Imagine if he got caught right there and the show was over. Like, whoa. So Walt finds the keys in the hood thing of the car, and he starts the engine and drives away. So he starts to drive, and he stops at a gas station, and he opens a trunk, and there's tons of money in the trunk, so that's where he put all the money. And he calls the New York Times saying that he has an interview with the Schwartz family and about gray matter and all that, and he like sets up a meeting and everything, and then Walt takes off his watch, and he just leaves it on the phone, the phone booth, and walks away. So why did he leave his watch there? I don't know. Maybe it's symbolizing that he was out of time or something. I don't know. Something like that. But he goes away, and that's about it for Walt for this little part. Then we goes to a little scene with the Schwartz couple, and the Schwartz couple are Elliot and Gretchen, and they own the gray matter company and Walt was like longtime friends with them, but of course he got rid of his partial like ownership of gray matter, and obviously it's worth like millions of dollars now. So yeah, that's in the first couple seasons we find out about that. But they walk home, and it's late at night, and they're walking into their house after I don't know what they came home, and we see Walt in the shadows, like kind of just lurking around, and Walt just walks right into their house, closes the doors, he's looking around like, wow, this is a nice place, and like meanwhile they're talking in the background, talking about their day, and Walt picks up a picture of just a family photo that was there, and it's a great shot where they're in the kitchen, the Schwartz couple, and he's just looking at the picture right around the corner. Really great shot. And then Gretchen just realizes that Walt's there, and she's like gets scared, and so she's like, what are you doing here? Like, he's like, I'm here to give you something, it's in my car. And then Elliot just pulls out a kitchen knife, and Walt's like, you're gonna need a bigger knife if you want to do anything against me. And then it went to a commercial, and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, really picking up right off from the start of the show. So that was pretty crazy. So Walt makes Elliot and Gretchen bring in all the money that was in his trunk, and he says it's around $9 million. And he's basically saying, okay, you're gonna give it to my family, and then he's, Elliot and Gretchen are like, no, I'm not doing anything with your drug money and all this stuff. He's like, well, here's what you're gonna do. You donate all this money to the victims of meth, and it would make sense that you would donate it to my son, because, well, I'm a meth lord, so you're helping him, and you're donating all this money. And then Gretchen and Elliot are like, okay, that sounds reasonable, and they shake their hands. And of course Gretchen's like, really against it, but what are you gonna do? Like, this guy's gonna kill you basically if you don't do what you say. So Elliot's just playing it cool and is like, yeah, sure. But of course Walter's not just gonna leave on that note, because they're probably not gonna do it. So he's like, can I trust you with this? And they're like, yes, absolutely. Then Walt flicks his hand up, and 2 red dots are on Elliot and Gretchen now. And he's like, with $200,000 I hired 2 hitmen. If you don't do this, you're going to be dead. You're going to be walking down. This could be a year, a day, an hour. If you don't do this, you'll never know when, and you're just going to die right there and then if you don't do it. So then Walt leaves, knowing that he scared them into submission. They're going to do what he said. He leaves, and he goes back into his car, and 2 men go in his car, presumably the hitman. They take off their mask, and it's actually Badger and Skinny Pete, and they just have laser pointers. So they're just, following what Mr. White said to them. that was really cool that we got to see Skinny Pete and Badger one last time before the episode closes, and it was just kind of cool because they were really awesome characters, and it's just like, man, that's just sweet. So Walt asks Skinny Pete and Badger, like, is the blue meth still being sold? And they're like, yeah, you know, by who? And he says, by who? And they're like, oh, we thought it was you, right? And Walter says, Jesse. And they're like, oh, Jesse, blah, blah. And then so obviously Walt knows that Jesse is cooking for him. So then we go to another scene, and it's this man building a wooden box, and then it reveals it's Jesse. And Jesse, it kind of snaps out of his little daydream, and he realizes he's still chained and being held against his will by Todd. Very interesting that they brought this like little clip of him building a wooden box, because if you remember in I don't remember what season it was, but maybe 4 or maybe 3 when Jesse was in the Alcohol like Anonymous thing, he was talking about his problems, and he was saying how he made a wooden box that he was really proud of and all that. So that was kind of cool to kind of connect it to there, because like if you haven't watched any of the other episodes, you're like, why is he building a box? Like, you know what I mean? And it was really cool to see that, because he was like daydreaming of kind of like what could have happened. Like if he kept on being like a, you know, building stuff out of wood, he could have made a career out of that. But no, he's chained up here against his will, and it just kind of shows you, you know, what could have happened. So Walt's in a diner, and he's saying, oh, it's my birthday, and then he goes and grabs his gun and ricin, and it's basically the flashback from the first episode of this season. So we kind of see how that fits in place now. And it's really cool, because it was really misleading when we first seen that clip, because we're like, what is going on? Like, does everyone know he's Heisenberg? And yes and no. And even that, the couple episodes ago when Jesse was pouring all the gasoline, we're like, oh, that's how his house gets trashed. No, and it was just like really cool how they did that kind of to mess with us, our thinking. So then we see Lydia, and she's in her usual place in the coffee shop she goes to, and Walt's sitting in the back, but she doesn't notice it. So Todd shows up, and they start talking about, you know, blah, 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 this, meth, blah, blah, blah. Walt grabs a chair and sits down next to him, and he's like, okay, just wait, listen to me for a second, don't go, because Lydia's about to go up and run away. But he's saying, I know you're running out of methylamine. I had created a new method that doesn't use methylamine at all. And he's like, he makes himself look really desperate, Walt. He's like, I need the money, and I'll trade you my information, how to make this, teach you how to cook it, as long as you give me like $1 million. And he's like, I can come out to you guys tonight and show you. And they're talking. Lydia's like pretty much saying no, but Todd's like, oh, that sounds pretty good. Then Walt leaves. So Lydia right after that says, we're not doing business with him. He can't be trusted. And she pours Stilvia, I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's like the sugar replacement. Stivia? I don't even know how to pronounce it. She pours it into her coffee, and she asks the waiter, oh, I need another package of it. And she does that every time she's in this coffee, in the coffee shop. Very predictable. So, guess what? The Stivia that she put in was actually ricin that Walt planted there to kill her, to get rid of her. I did not really see that coming with the ricin. I thought he was gonna like poison Jack somehow with it, but again, if you think about it, how would he poison Jack with it? Like, where would he get the opportunity to? And that was just so smart, because we always see Lydia with, her soy milk latte, whatever, and she always puts a Stevia in it, and she always asks for another one. So Walt could have easily planted it there. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, is it really easy to, unseal a package of it, put the ricin in, and then seal it? I don't know how that really plays out, but I think it's pretty realistic. I mean, I think he could have slipped it in, and I think it's pretty well done. I didn't see it coming at all. So now we flip to a different clip, and Walt's in the desert, and he's making something that like spins and turns. Like, we don't know what it is at all, but of course we later know. So then we go to a clip with Marie. Last time we see Marie now, and Marie's calling Skylar, and Marie tells Skylar that Walt's in town. They found the car that he stole in New Hampshire, and he's here, so be careful. And me and Flynn and you are being watched, like, so be careful and everything. Like, just keep your guard up. Right after she hangs up, Walt shows up right in the room where Skylar is, and basically Walt says, it's all over, but I just wanted a proper goodbye before I go. Like, that the last phone call we had, that doesn't cut it. So we can see, like, he's basically admitting, like, I did it to protect you and everything. And he's like, the police are coming for me, but he's like, no one will come after you, not after tonight. He's hinting that, he's setting something up here. So Walt gives Skylar the lottery ticket the lottery ticket numbers are the GPS coordinates to where Hank and Gomez are buried, and he tells her that, and she's getting emotional and everything, and he tells her that I didn't kill Hank, I tried to save him, and it's like really something special that she knows the truth, but Flynn is never gonna know, and that's kind of sad in my eyes. Like, he's never gonna really know that his dad really didn't mean for Hank to die, and he just thinks, yeah, you killed him, so whatever. But he says, he was about to say, well, like, I did this all for my family and everything, and Skylar's just like, if I have to hear one more time that you did this for your family and all this, and Walt just stops her and says, no, I did this for me, I liked it, I was good at it, I felt alive. That was the first time he really admitted to, like, kind of being overboard in this meth business and the Empire business. Like, he, and of course he was doing it for his family in the beginning, but it kind of became an addiction, kind of like how the meth actually is in reality, and he became addicted to being in power and, killing people, basically. And it was kind of really awesome to hear him, like, just say it and just, like, spill out all the beans and tell the truth for once. And I think Skylar was, like, he realized that he's finally telling the truth, and I believe he didn't kill Hank, and I believe everything that he says now. So, and he says, before I go, can I see her? And then Skylar lets him see Holly one last time, and he just kind of looks at Holly, and it's a really touching moment, like, saying, like, I'm basically gonna die, like, goodbye, like, that's basically what he says. So Walt leaves, and he's watching Flynn come home off the bus from school, just kind of watching him in the background, and he just leaves, and that's basically the last time he sees him. So now we go to, like, the big, grand ba-boom of this whole thing. A car pulls up to, like, the neo-Nazi place where Todd and his uncle and everything are, and it's Walt in his car, and guy sits next to him in the car and drives up with him. He's like, park here, and he parks, like, kind of weird, like, backs up. He's like, oh, whatever, I don't care. So the neo-Nazis pat Walt down. He doesn't find anything, but they take his keys and wallet. So Walt meets with Jack, and then he says, he walks into the building, meets Jack, and says, can we do business? And he's like, no, you know what, we're not really in the business. We can have that Lydia lady get us another barrel of methylamine, I don't care. And Walt's like, Todd, like, tell them, like, this is really useful. And Todd's like, Mr. White, you really shouldn't have come back. So then one of the neo-Nazis pulls out a gun, and Jack's like, yeah, you can do it, just take him out in the back. And they're dragging him out, about to kill him, and the keys are on the pool table, and obviously these keys activate something, probably the machine gun that Walt has, and they're pulling him out, and he can't do anything. So then he says, you still owe me. You told me that you were going to kill Jesse, and you never did. And now your partner is cooking meth. And so then Jack stops everything. He's like, no, you think he's a partner? Go get him. Go get him, Todd. Go get Jesse and bring him right here. So the keys are still on the pool table, and Walt's just standing next to the pool table because they let him go because they're going to go get Jesse. And he kind of just slides his hand back and grabs the keys. So Jesse walks in and he looks at Walt, and he just has like the death stare, and Walt looks like garbage, Jesse looks like garbage. It's like, how did it get to this point from just cooking in an RV, and now look how bad it got. So it really, again, it puts it in perspective. But so Walt just tackles Jesse to the floor right after Jack says, does this look like a partner to you? Like, you think we're a partner? Walt just tackles Jesse to the floor, starts screaming, and Todd jumps down with him, and he just presses the unlock button on his car, and the machine gun pops out of the trunk, and the thing that he was making that, like, turns, he mounted the machine gun on it, and it's just automatically firing, like, at least 100 rounds through the wall where they are, and it's, it's going in a motion so that it just slices, like, the building in half, basically, and it just shoots at all the Nazis. They're all on the floor dead, but Todd didn't get shot. So, again, it's just a massacre. All the bullets are flying everywhere, just everything, and basically everyone gets shot except for Jesse, Walt, and Todd. So, Todd goes out the window. He's looking out the window, and he's like, Mr. White, what's going on? Like, he doesn't even realize what's happening. Jesse just jumps up. He still has the chains on him, and wraps the chain around Todd's neck and violently chokes him out and just kills him. And it was just such a relief. Like, I really didn't like Todd's character. Like, I like the actor and how he portrayed it. I just didn't like him, like, as a person. So it was really satisfying to finally see, like, Jesse, like, bam, I finally got the upper hand. I finally killed you. So that was kind of crazy. Then Walt picks up a gun, and Jack is still crawling around in the back. So Jack, like, kind of sits up, and he grabs his cigarette, and Walt has a gun to him, and he's like, wait. He starts smoking. Like, you're dying. Like, settle down there. You don't need to smoke. And Jack's like, I still know where all the money is. If you shoot me, you're never gonna find it. And the trigger just pulls, and Walt just shot Jack right in the face. He doesn't care about the rest of the money. He got the $9 million to Flynn already, so it's like, you know what, that's the best I can do. I'm not gonna, kid myself and try to find the rest. And I think that's finally him letting go of the money and saying it's not worth it. And I think that's what he struggled with the most in this whole series. So Walt shoots Jack and he's dead. He puts the gun down and Jesse picks up the gun and points at Walt. And Walt says, "Do this." And he's like, "I want this." And Jesse's saying, I'm not going to shoot you unless you say you want it. And Walt says, "I want this, shoot me." But Jesse puts down the gun and he says, "Do it yourself." And he walks out. So then all of a sudden Todd's phone rings and it's like a custom ringtone. It says, "Lydia, Lydia." Like, it's hilarious. They still throw a joke in there. You know what I mean? After all this carnage, still throw a joke. And he picks it up. Walt picks it up and it's Lydia, and he's saying, "How are you feeling? Under the weather? That might be the ricin I slipped into your stevia there." And she just like and she's just on her bed like almost like she has a cold, and she's like, "Well, this sucks, I'm gonna die," basically. And Walt just hangs up the phone. At this point, Jesse gets into a car and he drives away, and he's just screaming in liberation, like he's finally free. He finally caught a break, and it's just like so nice that that was the last shot we seen of Jesse, and he's happy and he's finally free. Now, a lot of like controversy. What is he gonna do after that? We don't see what happens after. Like, where does he go? I'm sure he went to Brock. And maybe he's there with Brock and he's raising Brock. He has a normal life now. Like, there's nothing to worry about. I know a lot of people were mad that we don't see any more of him, but I don't think we do. And I think it left it off perfectly right there. And Jesse kind of gets the upper hand at the end. It's a happy ending for him because he finally gets out. So then we see Walt, and he goes to the meth lab that like Todd and his men had. And he looks around. He's looking at the chemistry, kind of smiling, like happy. He picks up a gas mask. And he's looking at one of like the pressure like cooker things, and he just like he touches it, and there's just a smear of blood, and it reveals that he actually got shot by his own like machine gun, and he just collapses and he dies right there, and that's the end. Walt dies right there, and the cops rush in, and then that's the end, and we just see like a zooming out like panoramic shot of Walt on the floor dead. And it's really awesome that he kind of just died happy. Like, he wrapped everything up. He killed Jack, killed Todd, killed Lydia. Like, everything's wrapped up. The money's going to his children. He set out to do what he did, and that was leave a large sum of money for his children before he died. And he's dead now. And again, he was going to die because of the cancer anyway, so I don't know. And I really, Walt was going to die in this episode. I knew that from the beginning. And if he didn't die, I think I'd be really angry. But I think this episode just played out really brilliantly, and the whole thing with how Walt even shot himself, I think that really symbolizes the whole show, because like he didn't really mean for it to get this far, and it's like he almost accidentally stumbled into this meth thing too, and it's like, he accidentally shot himself, and I think it just really symbolizes his whole story and where it's come from and where it ended, and it really did end in death. And again, it was just really cool. I think that that really wrapped it up. I don't think Walt should have died any other way. If Jesse would have shot him, it would have been okay, but I think this is just so much better that it parallels, what Walt's been through and how, like, he put it on himself. Like, he accidentally shot himself, and he didn't have to go into the business. Like, he brought it onto himself, and I really like how that's how he died. Like, he accidentally killed himself. Like, perfect ending, I think, in my eyes. And another, like, really point I want to make is that he died, like, looking at the chemistry and, like, saying, like, it's all in the chemistry. I love chemistry, and that's how he died. Like, he died with his chemistry, with his baby. And I thought that was just a really nice way to end this series, too. And, man, I'm going to miss this series. Such a good show. Honestly, I like the show better than The Walking Dead. And I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, even when this episode was done, I was just so out of it. Like, what am I supposed to do now? And it's really surreal that I'm not going to be able to watch it next week or next year, you know what I mean? So I think, just in closing thoughts, it's been a great ride for Breaking Bad. I've been personally watching this on TV every episode since the middle of season 2. So I've been watching this for a while, but man, it's just great. And I'm definitely going to buy the complete series on Blu-ray when it comes out. It comes in like a nice barrel, so I'm probably going to put up a review when that comes out November 14th, I believe. But other than that, Walking Dead's going to start in about 2 weeks, so that's at least something to look forward to. But, man, this was just a great ride. I know I said it before, but really great show. It has to be my second favorite show of all time. Just, if you haven't watched the show, go watch it. Even though it's done, you know, that the complete series is going to come out, you can watch the whole thing right from the beginning. So, with that, guys, this is my last Breaking Bad review, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode just as much as I did. I know a lot of people dislike this ending, but I thought it was great. I know the majority do like it, so I'm happy with it. And I just want to say goodbye, Breaking Bad, and until Better Call Saul premieres, goodbye. Goodbye, Breaking Bad. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.